Hey guys, welcome back to another Sunday's video. I'm glad you guys could tune in once again, and I appreciate your guys' support. For today's video, we'll be talking about how I came about doing the artwork for the tape Carolina Madness. This is volume 1 out of 10, and it's hosted by Beyond a Failure. And so we'll be talking about the client details and how I came about just creating the overall imagery, and I'll show you guys the layer breakdown. So for the client details, it wasn't really much. I didn't really get much info on their part. It was more of a freelance job. All I got was that they wanted me to portray Carolina, since the tape is based for Carolina rappers. I believe it's both North Carolina and South Carolina. If not, then it would just be North Carolina. So they just pretty much told me to portray North Carolina in some way and to make the artwork look hot. So I just freelanced it and came up with this. That's pretty much all that went to it, honestly. So let's go into the layer breakdown. So here we got our parental sticker with Beyond a Failure's logo down here, which I designed for them a while back. And then we have our then the color. As you can see, the dramatic difference this does. Let's go into that, and what I did was some curves to increase contrast, color lookup. It gives it that pinkish and fadeish look. What I went, I believe I used soft warming, and you can find this adjustment over here on your adjustments tab, and it's color lookup. Then I added selective color. It's subtle, just gives it more a bit of a fade, and hue and saturation to saturate the colors more and make them pop up. And this is just a merged image of all the images below, of all the layers below. So what I did to do this is Control Shift Alt E on PC, and it creates a merged image of all the layers. And so I went to filter, camera off filter. I added some clarity, some sharpness, and contrast, as you can see. Alright, so let's disable this. And then I added my borders, just some black around the perimeter. Then I added some barbed wire around in the bushes here. And what I did is I just masked it out and made it look like it's in the bush. That's pretty much all that went to it. And I added some shadows and highlights, as you can see here. It's on this side right here, the shadows and the highlights. I made the highlights on the left side, since the light source is coming from over here, and the shadows on the right side. And let's go into this part right here. As you can see, the highlights right here and the shadows. Alright, and this is the mask right here, so if I disable it, you can see. Alright, let's close this out. And then this is the bush. Oh, and let me actually show you guys the images I used to create this. Let me go into my assets folder, and here are the images that I used from. I got these images from Adobe Stock, and this is the bush that you guys see in the cover. As you can see, it's right there. And then let me scroll. I didn't use this one, or I didn't use that sign either. I didn't use this one, but I used this one. You can see it in the bushes again there. And then the flag, I wrapped it around the sign right here. A city in North Carolina, you could just see it right here on the corners, on the edges. And this is the sign I used. I just took off all the lettering, and then I added got a wood texture and just put it in here. I blended it in using a multiply color blending mode. So those are all the images. Let me show you guys how I did the sign. Let me see which one it is. 182 production, and it's this one. Alright, so let's disable this. Actually, let me go back into the sign. And this is the original. And then then this is the sign. All I did was actually just got a paintbrush. And then I sampled the color from the sign, and then I just like brushed over it. And then I added this texture right here. This is just the wood texture. And I added that to the sign. Alright, let's close this out. And then I did some fire embers right here. I used the linear dodge blending mode for that. Then here's our other bush. And what I did for this to make it blend in more was I actually just went through and created some shadows in the bush, as you can see. That makes it blend in more. Then I added some more embers over here. Then my text. And then the flag over here. I added some shadows to it. The way I made it warp around was just using the liquify tool and the warp tool. So if you go to, I believe it's filter liquify. Yeah, let me just show you guys liquify. Let me open this up. And so what you can pretty much do is distort the image, as you can see. Alright, let's cancel this. And then I added some shadows, as you can see right here. You know, just making it more realistic and blend it in. If you want to blend in your images, always add some shadows. And then here I added just an orange glow. So you can just pretty much do this by creating a new layer, going to your color palette and getting an orange tone, and then just clicking right there and then setting it to like screen. Then just smoothing it right here, and then just lowering down the opacity. So that's how I went about that. This is the sign itself. I added some bevel to it, as you can see right here on the leg of the sign. Gives it that highlight to emphasize where the light source is at. Then I added the tree shadows here, make it more realistic. I added some more, and then I just made some shadows here on the leg. Since since the light source is coming this way, this would be darker. Then I added some more shadows. Alright. And then this is the glow back here. All this is let me create a new layer. Then you get your color palette to white, and then and your brush tool, and that's how you just get that glow. And then some more barbed wire up here, and the same thing. I just added highlights with the brush tool and shadows. And then the bush right here. Some more embers. Then the ground. And the city. The reason I added a color balance is to make it blend in with the sky back here to give it that blue and greenish tint to make it fit in more. And then finally the sky. Now I add some adjustments to this. I just darkened it down using brightness and its brightness and contrast. And yeah, that's the sky right there. And these were some other versions right here that I was thinking of using, but we just went with this version instead. And that's the layer breakdown. By the way, if you're a rapper in Carolina, if you want your music featured in this tape or the next volumes to come, I'll leave Beyond a Failure's Instagram page down below in the description where you guys can contact them for future information. So with that being said, let's get on to the speed.